What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Powershift Garage on YouTube. This is our first YouTube video and the first kind of full build that we're doing in my two-car garage at my house. I have a work area outside on the side with some covering. So between the garage and the area outside, we should have plenty enough room to be able to get a lot of projects done here. My name's Levi. You'll be seeing my buddies Kenny and Mike, both, you won't see them when they're behind the camera, but they'll be helping out with camera work and helping me, just extra hands and doing different things on the project. The first project that we're doing in the shop here is my 2002 Dodge Ram. Right now the engine and transmission are out. The transmission's sitting on a dolly over there, and the block is all torn apart. That's the block for the truck right there. Everything's torn apart. I'm going to put everything back together for the engine. We're going to get the engine and tranny back in the truck and get it running. And then from there, the truck has been sitting for a few years. So from there, we'll be doing like kind of a full restoration of the frame, full suspension rebuild, and there'll be a couple other cool things that we're going to do, including a color change for the truck. So last night I got kind of a head start working on the bare block. I got some stuff done, so check it out. Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome to the Powershift Garage. I just got the garage cleaned up a little bit, put away a bunch of the tools. So tonight I'm going to get to work on the engine for our 2002 Ram. So the first things I need to do are knock the last of the oil galley plugs out, hone the cylinders, knock the old cam bearings out, and then just brush the oil galleys. And then after that, I'll take it outside. We'll give it a final wash, degrease everything, and then we can get ready to start reassembly. So here we go. So we have our 360 for the 02 Ram, and the first thing that I'm going to do here is roll the block over and knock out the plugs that are on the front of the block that go to the the main oil galleys that feed the lifters. So I'm going to knock those out. We'll run a brush through there to clean out any debris that might be in there. And then I'll go ahead and knock the old cam bearings out. And then last but not least, I'll hone the cylinders and we'll get everything ready to be washed down and we can get to reassembly. So I'll get started on that. Here we go. So on the back of the block here, you can see there's the cam tunnel, and then those two holes right there are where the threaded plugs for the main oil galley go. So we'll switch around over to the front of the block here. Now right here on the front, this is where the cam shaft retainer plate goes, and you can see here and here are pressed in plugs that are on the other side of that lifter oil galley. So I'm going to knock those out, and then we can scrub through there and clean everything out. All right, so to be able to do this, you're going to need a long pokey thing and a hammer. This is just a metal rod that a buddy loaned me, and somebody custom made it for doing exactly this kind of thing. You just need something long that you can run through the oil galley so you can knock that plug out. So I'm gonna go ahead and knock out this first one and we'll see how this goes. All right. So there it goes, easy as that. Man, if you can see that, you can see all that debris on the back of it, and that's why we need to clean these galleys out. This block's not going to the machine shop. We're going to clean everything up here. So we need to knock these out and make sure everything's clean. And to be honest, depending on the quality of the machine shop that you have in your area, sometimes machine shops don't do this. Especially if you bring a block to them with your oil galley plugs already in it, a lot of them won't knock them out for you. So if you're going to take your block to the machine shop, it's a good move to go ahead and remove all these threaded plugs and the pressed-in plugs, and that way you know for sure that if the block gets hot tanked or whatever, all the debris gets out. So this is the cam bearing remover that I'm going to be using. Basically, this is a universal set, so it has these expanding plugs on the end. You slide this into the cam bearing, and then it has a plastic cone that goes into the front of the cam tunnel and kind of helps keep everything centered. So you slide this into the cam bearing, you tighten this end up into the bearing, and then you can knock it out, go in this direction. So I'm going to knock all the old ones out, and then when the time comes, I'll use the same tool to reinstall all the new cam bearings. So I'm going to go ahead and knock these cam bearings out. You just use a 7/8 socket to tighten this up when you have it kind of in the bearing. It doesn't need to be crazy tight. You just snug it up to the bearing, and then this will drive it right out. So I'm going to go ahead and get that done. we go. All right, so we got the cam bearings out of the old 3/6 Ruski over there. The whole issue, the whole reason that we're pulling this block all the way down is right here. This is the number 4. Yeah, the number 4 cam bearing. And look at that thing. It is literally coming apart. Yeah, this bearing is literally coming apart. Look at that, that's not good for business. So, that's out. So one of the last kind of major things that we need to do to this block before we're ready to wash everything down and degrease it and then start reassembling is we need to hone the cylinders. When I took this block apart, the cylinders were in really good shape. There was no ridge. Everything looks really nice. And we decided that on this build, we're not going to the machine shop. So I'm just gonna flex hone the cylinders here in the garage and then go back in. We're reusing the stock pistons that came out of this 360. So I'm just gonna go back in with new bearings and a new set of rings, and everything should be good. So I will flex hone on the drill here. I've already run through one a little bit, but I'm gonna go ahead and wipe out all of these cylinders with some brake cleaner, and then I'll get the WD-40 sprayed on the flex hone and then down in the cylinder itself, and I'll go ahead and I'll hone these out. And that way we have that nice kind of cross-hatched pattern on the cylinder wall so that the new rings will seat and everything will seal properly. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and hit the first cylinder with some WD-40, and then same on the flex hone, and then I'll go ahead and run it through a few times and try to hone this up. When you're first going into the cylinder, it's just kind of important that you keep the hone spinning when you go into the cylinder. You don't want any like vertical up and down scratches on the cylinder. So you want to have the hone spinning when you go in. All right, that looks pretty good. So I'll go through and do the same thing. I'll spray the cylinders down, spray the hone down, and we'll hone all these cylinders. I'll flip the block to the other side, do that side, and then I'll clean everything down again with some brake clean and some blue rags. All right, so we got the block honed, and there you go. You can kind of see that cross hatch pattern on the cylinders in there. And that's the kind of finish that you want to have on the cylinders when you're going in with new rings. You don't want like a real mirror finish on your cylinders with the new rings in. you know, if you don't have that crosshatch pattern, then the rings won't seat, and you know, piston rings won't seal up. You're gonna have a big problem. So that's done. Now the next thing that we need to do tomorrow is wash the block. I have a little more cleaning to do. I need to clean up the sealing surface on the head gaskets. So I'll get the wire wheel out and I'll clean that up. And then we'll also scuff the block up and get it ready for paint. And then we'll wash everything down so that we can do like the final clean and start assembling. All right, so that's it for tonight. It's getting pretty late out here in the shop, so I'm gonna pack it in. And then tomorrow morning, I'll hit it and see if we can get this thing washed up and all prepped and probably painted so we can go ahead and get this thing back together. What's up, everybody? It's the next day. I'm gonna get the motor rolled outside. We're gonna rinse it down, probably pressure wash some of the oil galleys and degrease everything so we can get it ready to get reassembled. So here we go. Another beautiful summer afternoon in Central Florida. Oh. Yeah, there she is, boys. All right, so I'm out here in the outside work area, and I just got a bucket of hot water with some Simple Green and some dish soap in there, and a few brushes. So I'm just going to start scrubbing this thing down, try to get all the grease and some of this gross kind of gunk out of the engine. And then after that, I'll rinse everything down and I'll hit it with the pressure washer. All right, we got the block all washed up. I'm just gonna dry everything off and wipe down the cylinders with a little bit of oil to make sure they don't get any surface rust. All right, everybody, that's about it for this video. We got the block all cleaned up and prepped. I just need to scuff the outside so we can get it ready for paint. So I'll go ahead and knock that out off camera. So in the next video, we'll probably go ahead and start reassembling. I think I'm gonna put the heads on before I paint everything. So we'll go ahead and start reassembling the short block, and then I'll get the heads out and get those cleaned up and reassembled so we can get the long block put together. See you next time.